Good morning and thank you very much for joining us. I am Kyori Folari. I hope we meet you well. My guest this morning, Dr. Olabisi Deji-Folutile. She's a journalist and, of the online media, online news, Franktalknow.com. Great to have you once again with us, Bisi. Indeed. And Mr. Sesan Okunade, he's a chartered accountant, chartered tax professional, and public affairs analyst. I suppose, good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you as always for coming on. My pleasure. And I suppose something I was reading, I suppose we're going to need you because we're reading that NNPC may indeed be spending up to 210 billion naira to clean up the fuel. That is the 170.25 million liters of dirty fuel. I was reading from a newspaper headline there. So I'm sure you're going to be interested in that. The House of Reps is not taking it easy. It has put a charge on the NNPC, sort of probing them. Let's take a package relating to that now, and then we'll come back to studio and we'll talk about it.
Over the past few weeks, Nigerians, especially in Abuja and Lagos State, have been subjected to untold hardship due to scarcity of petrol. Long queues and attendant economic woes have been the lot of the people. Days ago, the Nigerian government confirmed the scarcity of the commodity, which it attributed to the adulterated fuel in circulation.
Thank you very much.
Lawmakers are livid that many who purchased the fake fuel have had their vehicles damaged, while commuters suffer long waits at bus stops and high cost of transportation.
To investigate the release and sale of adulterated premium motor spirit (PMS).
The chief whip brings up the incident under matters of urgent national importance. He queries the roles played by all concerned in the distribution chain, just as other members decried the development.
Aware that poor quality was noticed about a week ago, when many car engines of motorists were reportedly damaged, and consumers allegedly started arresting and suing retail outlet owners for selling them products which damage their vehicles.
The committee should also ascertain whether the importation, distribution, and dispensing of the toxic petroleum or petrol in Nigeria from January to date conforms to the international standard.
Considering the amount of subsidy that is always paid on this product, then someone somewhere will go far as bringing adulterated fuel into this country is unacceptable.
In another motion, Lagos member Ganiu Johnson wants more awareness and sensitization on the dangers of female genital mutilation.
Female genital mutilation comprises of all procedures that involve altering or injuring the female or damage.
Okay, welcome back. So that's what we just wanted to sort of show you that in the House of Representatives, they're taking a dim view of this. But I suppose most importantly to the generality of the people, the public, Lagos, Abuja, anywhere, is life needs to return to normal. This fuel, dirty fuel, as we were told, it was a surprise, and I think it has embarrassed the administration because now we're hearing that this had been known, this cock-up had been known from somewhere around the 20th, if we can believe what we read, 20th of January, and it only became big news, at least in Lagos, very, very recently. And even after that, for about a week, nothing from the presidency, but now we've heard from Garba Shehu on behalf of the presidency, and certainly we're now hearing that, it can be fixed. In fact, it is being fixed, and we do have sufficient volume in storage. So tell me, BC, if you will, what's your experience? Has it gotten better in terms of being able to just drive in as before, pick up what you need and leave?
Yeah, I think yesterday I drove into a filling station and I just bought my fuel, but at 170 naira per liter.
Okay, that's up from around where 165
165 naira or 162.5.
Yes.
So that's an additional 7.5 naira. But I mean, I tried to even speak with the manager, and he told me that that was the price they got it. Actually, another tanker just discharged even as of that yesterday, and they said it was because the price they got it also went up. That was why they had to adjust their own price, and it was actually adjusted on the meter. Okay. It's not as if anybody is telling you that this is how much we are selling. I just checked the meter, I saw 170 naira, and I was like, wow. And there were no vehicles, the place was free, and even when I was coming this morning, there was no single vehicle in that filling station. And they were dispensing? They were dispensing. So, I mean, 162.5 is high. Imagine now 170 again.
Some people even reported that they actually bought proper black market, whatever that means. I mean, you know those black kegs. Well, sometimes they're white kegs as well. You know, on the roadside, on the roadside. So they've been complaining that look, they've had to resort to that. But at least the product was available. It's unfortunate. It's not right, but then we will do those kind of things.
They also assured me that it was good fuel, that I could be rest assured that it was good fuel, and that was the most important thing to me right now. I just want to make sure that I buy the fuel, even if it is at 170 and I'm not keen for this product.
Don't be saying that now, because this thing you've just said, they will say, you hear? Somebody said that. I don't mind. So far it is good.
For me, because I don't go out much.
Yes.
So I don't go out. I work from home most of the time. So if I needed to go out,
no, I was just joking.
Not to waste my time.
Exactly. Because in this conversation about whether or not they want to increase it, whether they should, whether they can, you know, that was the joke I was just making.
No, but on Kyori, if I may pick it something from there, it's actually a joke, but you expect that we'll react to it, in the sense that even the 162, we are complaining.
That is the
which I even
for an average Nigerian like me, is a penetrating strategy in marketing.
Well, I don't know about average Nigerian. You're a chartered accountant, you're a chartered tax professional. If you like, let me take you to 200. Your car will not be parked.
No, but we say that's a penetrating strategy in marketing. You just wet the avatar and say, let's give it to them at 170, 175. If there is no reaction, we get our fillers back, and that will be the next price we'll be selling. And for us, it's like, if it's something I can just walk in and there won't be queue.
Everybody else would have been of her own mindsets too.
People of business caliber, they will just want it. But the truth is, we don't want that. You need to see the horrible experience of commuters in the last 1 week in Lagos. It's not something to come back.
You people in Lagos are making noise. They say this has been up in Abuja before it hit us in Lagos.
No, the people in Abuja are closer to the corridor of power, so they can't feel it. Those of us in Lagos, we are far from.
We are closer to the port. We should enjoy some benefit
than them that are not closer to the port.
I'm happy that we're seeing a way to make fun of out of this bitter experience.
Because if you don't do that, Uncle Kyori, your BP will keep increasing, and you die at the shorter end. So it's to create comic out of this, but there is serious issue at hand.
In fact,
serious issue.
Let me take it into your realm a bit, in the sense that we are reading newspaper reports. That's all we have. Maybe we'll begin to, well, whatever. Let me just. Newspaper reports say that the explanation of 201 billion naira being spent to fix the 170 million liters out there. They say this is about let me just read it directly word for word. The Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority had stated on Tuesday that for every 200 liters of the adulterated product, 800 liters of petrol with good quality would be required for the blending that would be done. So I don't know, I'm not a chemist myself, I'm not a petroleum person, but it does seem to me as if the methanol that is the culprit in all of this, the petrol that they gave to us was too conk. You remember the way it was too conk. So they're now going to have to put 4 more parts of good petrol into it, blend that, and then it'll be good.
Well, maybe I will talk from the perspective of an accountant.
That's it.
Who bear the cost?
That was what I was going to ask.
Who bear the cost?
Because there was a time when we were saying that the culprits, as mentioned by Malam Kyori, you know, that they would be footing the bill of the cost, because we'd heard about some engines having been damaged. We've been hearing that somebody had said that they'd taken up the responsibility. But then the president has now spoken, you know, between yesterday and today, and is saying that an investigation must be conducted, and whoever was culpable is going to have to face consequences.
So many probes, so many investigations. How many, Uncle Kyori? I don't know. You know, it's not. You are closer to than. I don't know the number of probe and investigation that has come to bear, and we have seen people being punished for this. And that is why most of the time, this kind of a thing will always happen, and we always say it everywhere we go. Good policy,
nothing ever
good
happens
personnel,
afterwards.
No process, no severe punishment for anyone. The havoc some of this thing has caused on businesses. You cannot just measure it. It has a ripple effect. There is you see, with these few things, just like what my sister said, increase in price of the fuel. Do you know some market women already increased the cost of things? I heard somebody telling me yesterday, but don't be annoyed. When I went to the market, we used to enter bus at 200. They took it 500, and I need to pass it. Who bear the cost? An average person on the street go back to bear the cost. And what we are hearing from the government is that we are going to spend so much again to fix that. And I think this government should just, if part of the cardinal point for this government is to fight corruption, I think this is corruption facing us. Point blank.
You know, you know, we've been complaining that how did this happen? Okay, I have a call. Who's calling in? Someone.
Hello.
I can't hear, but Dixon, is
Hello?
that Mr. Dixon? Easy. Good morning, Easy.
Yeah, how are you? I'm calling
Very well,
from
thank you. Thank you for calling in.
Yeah, great guest in the studio.
Sure, thank you.
My name is Easy Yakia.
Okay.
I'm calling in from Yanagua. You see, it's very unfortunate the situation we find ourselves in this country. And you can imagine where a country that has over refineries that have not been working for donkey years, coupled with the essence that we have petroleum products imported from abroad, in spite of the fact that crude oil was discovered in commercial quantity. We have one of the best crude in this country. And if somebody is telling you that we're importing fuel up to now, it's a very sad development. Come and look at the cost, the multiplier effect, and the impact on the citizenry. We're battling with security situation in this country. We're battling with infrastructure. Then to add of it, the ineptitude and lack of proper visionary direction of our leaders that have brought us to this dilemma. I could imagine what people are passing through in Lagos and in Abuja. You can see the conjecture there. So it's a sad development. Until our leaders begin to look inwards, we have a very serious leadership recruitment problem in this country. And the problem is that Nigerians are not asking critical questions. We need to begin to ask, to begin to check our system. What is really good is that I just like what the Minister for State Petroleum, Chief Preserver, said there, that they have to look at how to be able to manage and enumerate the sufferings, how to compensate the owners of those cars. So
that is what he did say, but I hope it hasn't been overtaken by what the president has now said. That it sounds like the president is saying that no, you guys are on your own. Those people that brought the bad fuel, whoever is culpable, he's going to be liable.
No, but how can we move in that direction? It's not the fault of the consumers. It's not the fault of this. Are we supposed to be importing fuel at this age? At this age, are we supposed to be importing fuel in this country? So all I could look at America. Some states in America have up to 30 to 15 refineries. Other countries that are doing better with our own resources. Somebody will tell you that you take your raw material, export it, go and buy your product from another country to bring back to you to serve your people. Yet you have not plunged the country into a mess. It's so sad. We cannot continue in this direction. We can't continue like this. And we are not asking questions. I think health should roll in that ministry, so we'll be able to have a direction to focus ourselves and look at the issues that bother us mostly and that will improve our lives going on in this country. It's so sad.
Okay, Easy. Thank you very much for calling in, Easy. Bisi, we've been asking the question of how did this happen? You know, what kind of a system are we running? We were asking that question, didn't know how it was possible for bad fuel to come into a modern day Nigeria. We expected people to be at the gate, so to speak, to test this thing, check a sample, it's okay, then put it. But Malam Kyori, he sort of advised that, well, you see, we've never, methanol is the culprit now. Too much methanol. That's why they're going to dilute it down with four more parts of good petrol. It's never been the system to check for methanol. So that's how that happens to happen. But they now know better. So it's like, I don't know, because some of the things you might have seen on social media too, you saw bottles that look nothing like the petrol that you and I know. Sludgy, brownish kind of a thing. That's not what the petrol looks like. So I don't know whether there was not a visible component to, whether they didn't even need to cite it. You know, in the petrol station, you have that little bottle, you know, attached there that with two balls in it that keeps on, that keeps rolling to show that it's being dispensed.
I think this is just a manifestation of what has been in the system for quite some time.
But we haven't caught them out.
Just that we didn't have it at this level. You see, you can, if you cast your mind back, you must have heard people telling you that there are some particular stations where they don't buy fuel from because the fuel is thin and it burns faster.
Okay, yeah.
People do make such complaints. So which means it has to do with the standard of the fuel. So for me, we've been compromising whatever we are bringing in, or don't let me be absolute. Probably we've been compromising the quality of fuel that we import to the country from time to time, and that is why. And this is not the first time.
We didn't compromise it. It was compromised by the time it arrived.
When I say we, I mean the government, or the people in charge,
the agency,
the agency that brings the fuel between them and the people that.
I think you're looking at Duke.
Yes, there has been a compromise, sort of.
I see.
Just that we didn't feel it because a lot of people are not affected. And even this particular one started January 20. According to NNPC, they discovered this around January 20.
And kept quiet.
And a lot of people have been affected. You know, people will just complain that they have problems with their engines. And they
wouldn't have suspected
immediately. They wouldn't have suspected. It's because of the people in Lagos. You know, Lagosians, we are for sure, we are smarter.
I beg your pardon for interrupting you. Kennedy in Port Harcourt. Good morning, sir, and apologies for keeping you waiting.
Mr. Kyori, a very sincere good morning to you and your beautiful guests.
Thank you.
My name is Kennedy. I'm calling you from Port Harcourt.
Sure. Go ahead, please.
Sorry, I would just love very much to ask a question. I am sure right in front of you, you have one of the national dailies in front of you there. And there's a headline. There's a headline right on the screen that federal government names culprits. Can you please look, if you may, from the first page to the last page, if you will see any of the names of those culprits there? That's number one. Then number two, I am sure we have an agency called Consumer Protection Agency. Am I correct?
Yes.
Now, if you want to ask me, I would like to ask, what is this agency saddled with the responsibility of protecting the consumer? What is this agency going to do concerning this? That's number one. And number two, I always say it. You see, the Nigerian Labour Congress, they keep deceiving themselves, and then they think they're deceiving Nigerians. Nigerians will have become wiser for it. I will say, and I keep saying it, the Nigerian Labour Congress should put up a fight and don't stop until our refineries are working. Mr. Kyori, please let me ask you, is it not shameful a country the size of Nigeria still importing products? Is it not shameful? Just imagine it for a moment. And tell me, please, NNPC is the sole importer, as we are told, of petroleum products into the country as it stands today. Will Kyori and his cohort claim not to know the root cause of what is going on.
Okay.
So
thank you very much. I hear you, Kennedy. I hear you, Kennedy. Indeed, that's precisely what we're all looking at right now. People are shocked. Well, the culprits, Malam Kyori, he himself, he has spoken about, look, we've discovered where all of this rubbish came from. Well, he didn't call it rubbish, but you know what I'm saying. And he mentioned a number of names. MRS, for instance, is one of them. Oando is another. And and there are some other ones. Duke, that is NNPC's own business arm, is one of them. MRS earlier in the week, as you recall, had put out a statement that no, it's not us. It's the business arm of NNPC that imports all PMS, and that they supplied to everybody else. So this kind of buck passing.
I also think Nigerians, we should not allow ourselves to be carried away by the narrative of the NNPC. The NNPC can say anything, but what do we know as Nigerians? As Nigerians, we are aware of a subsidy regime currently going on in the country. As Nigerians, we are also aware that the NNPC is solely responsible for importing fuel into this country. So we don't know what operates between NNPC and the other distributors, as it were. So we should be bothered about what NNPC is doing. So for me, the NNPC should take responsibility for this problem. And if there is anything, if anybody is looking for any investigation, the NNPC itself should be investigated.
And that's where you start from.
That is where it starts from.
Maybe that's why the House of Reps is actually, quote unquote, probing them now and is demanding a suspension of anybody found culpable.
Well, that is where it should start from, because I want to go with the defense of is it MRS?
MRS.
Yes. That they just imported, they just got the fuel that
from Duke, which is the NNPC business arm.
I want to go with that because that is what I understand to be in place.
Who heads Duke? Where is Duke?
We don't know anything.
Where are they based?
On Kyori, even before you go to that, with the same NNPC, we have said it that those of us in the private sector, there's a way something works. If this has happened in a private firm, somebody will be accountable to the board. To the board. If you pick on the MD of that organization, he has a director who manages the affair of that particular place. And by now, he should be answering questions.
Yeah.
But what do we have? We are only picking the MD. Who is the director in charge of quality assurance? Who is the director in charge? He must have a report. By now, he should have stepped. In Nigeria, we don't step aside until they force you out of it.
Let's come back and explore it some more. I've got to go on a break now. Please stay with us. We'll be right back. Welcome back. Still discussing the adulterated fuel crisis. Mele Kyori, does name culprits. Still in studio with Dr. Olabisi Deji-Folutile and Mr. Sesan Okunade. Mr. George, apologies for keeping you waiting all that while. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Uncle Kyori, and good morning to your guests.
Thank you.
Good morning.
Uncle Kyori, I'm sorry to say that I do not believe in the probe being conducted by both the National Assembly and the NNPC. How can NNPC, that is the guilty party, be probing itself? That's why I was calling for the suspension or the removal of the head of the minister that is supervising that ministry in the first place. It is from there we will know who the culprit is, and for the proper culprit to be, punished. The minister is supposed to have pinned down who that person was before it came to the public. That did not happen. And how many probes have ever been conducted by the National Assembly that you see the result? I don't believe in that one. This is an executive function. It is the function of the executive when something like this happens
to probe it and give us results. You know, I called you that day to say I sense that this is sabotage. And you can see what is emerging now. That brings me to this subject on Kyori. I have been seeing Governor Wike going to close down what he called illegal refineries in Bayelsa and Rivers. But the fuel that those so-called illegal refineries are producing have not been known to be knocking down cars. They've been selling it, and we have not seen anybody complaining that his car has knocked down because of all those products. Since the government is unable or is refusing to fix our refineries, is it not time to regulate these people?
Yeah.
Have we checked what they use, what they do, and how they get those fuel refined? We have to be realistic.
Yeah.
If the government is unable to give us what we want and somebody is displaying ability, why don't you check him and make him to buy the crude he's using and regulate him?
Okay.
I'm just thinking aloud.
Yeah.
Good morning.
Okay, good morning, Mr. George. Thank you very much for calling. And the other, I think it was the gentleman who called in from Bayelsa who was also complaining about, and just about everybody is complaining, whether you're at home or abroad as a Nigerian, say, how can this be happening to us? We actually produce crude. We can't refine it. But the explanation that people might have noted that has come out of all of this is, well, you see, yeah, unfortunately, be that as it is, but what happens is that we will send out crude, you know, and then the equivalent value in refined product, you know, will come back to us. It's not really as if we're putting hands in our pockets to buy with money the way people are thinking.
If from there, do we speak about other byproducts from the same crude? We're only talking of crude to PMX.
Spoken as an accountant.
Yeah,
are we talking of other byproducts? So you see, when you get equivalent,
the value chain.
Yeah, if you get the equivalent of PMX to the crude, what happens to the other issue like the jelly, the fertilizers, and all of those are added value? Now, if you are breaking even with the crude to PMX, those ones will now be addition
extra
that will
value
give you
to us.
Yes.
So you are asking the question that the accounting has not been thorough or complete.
You know, our account must balance. Here I'm seeing the debit more than the credit.
Okay. Reverend Dominic, good morning, sir.
Good morning, Yori.
Thank you for calling in.
The man and lady in your face.
Okay, Reverend, go ahead, please.
As normal, the business of Nigeria has started. Number one business is in National Assembly. The Parliament has budget for oversight. The oversight budget must be spent. So this is a reason to spend it. Like George said, nothing will come out of it. We have to spend the oversight budget. Number one. NNPC have given you over 200 billion business to clean their own error. Could you imagine? It's laughable that the man made a mistake and give Nigeria.
Reverend, that chuckle in there speaks volumes. But carry on, sir.
Okay, here what I'm trying to say. Look at how the joke is. A man made a mistake, and a TV staff made a mistake. TVC staff made a mistake, and bring business big to you. If I can hear you, and the man in TVC, instead of you to punish him and sack him, he says, sir, the mistake I made, I will use this amount to correct it. And they have budgeted. It's a business. Let me put it this way, like George said. In the Northeast, every liter of blood is put in naira, pounds, and dollars. Every liter. So it's every day. When people die, it's naira and kobo. When people die, it's dollar. Now, the same thing. If I'm going to say somebody must be in jail now, what we're talking about, the bill to correct the error. Could you imagine? And let me tell you again, those four companies, sir, those four companies, if you go and check the directors, we have made our own findings. You know, if you find the directors are members of NNPC, the directors are members of this government in power, who are you going to punish? If Nigeria continue this way, it's a shame to everybody.
Okay, thank you very much, Malam Kyori. He had named what? There's MRS, there's EMADEB Consortium, OANDO, and Duke as well. But there may be others, but those ones he has mentioned by names, and one of them at least has protested before he made this statement that nothing concerns us in this whole matter. What NNPC gave us is what we are giving you. They can't. So the implication of that has not been said, but is implied, is that NNPC can't turn around now and be saying that I am among those people. But NNPC itself must have very good reason for
I think
mentioning.
I will support. I think George, we should have an independent person, investigating this matter, not NNPC investigating themselves, if we want a leeway in this issue that we have. Because there is more to it, on Kyori. The last 1 week has been so hectic for an average Lagosian.
Not to mention Nigeria as well.
When Lagos cough, Nigerian cough, you learned that this has been happening in Abuja since like 20th. Nobody hear anything about it. Just 1-2 days in Lagos, we have this problem coming up. So we must look critically into it. In a situation where somebody will say we are investigating it, we know. If nobody know, I know. Every probe and investigation before now, in every segment that I am privy to know, has never gone any step further than it will come to the ear and we'll discuss it, and that's where it will die. People will never get value of that investigation. Rather, our money will be expended for people to sit down and discuss without having punitive punishment for people that are corporate.
Okay, let me go to Momo. Mr. Momo is calling in from Maryland. Good morning.
Good morning, Kyori.
Good morning, sir.
How are you, sir? And good morning to your guest.
Sure.
Kyori, it's so painful and shameful. So painful and so shameful, that we are in this kind of a mess. We find ourselves in a situation like this. We just dance around it. We just make noise. Everybody will go in and sit there again. Okay, let's leave the aspect of the damage the fuel has caused to some ages, cars, and all the other things. What of, have you talked of, go back and sit down and say, what of the health, our health as human, what we inhale into our system from this same fuel? I listened to journalist Hangout yesterday when Jide Otitoju was saying, assuming is the aviation fuel, then you feel the plane and it took off, maybe you have 280 passengers in the plane, 150 passengers in a plane. It just took off and it crashed. This is the same way we make noise, everybody will go and sleep. You see, you cannot say NNPC cannot investigate himself. It's not possible. The government itself should bring external bodies and say, okay, look, who brought this fuel? We talk of this same thing. I was telling somebody some days ago, I said, okay, look, let's even talk about this light issue. You have a generator in your house. If your generator is faulty, you know how to fix it. You call a mechanic. If the mechanic do not fix it very well, you hold him responsible. We have people who are in charge of those things. We cannot hold anybody accountable. It's so painful because at the end of the day, this is how we make noise. After this, your broadcast, the other station, every media, everybody will go in and will lie again. If you try this in other countries, by now, placards, everybody will be on the street shouting. But here, we always like to talk and then we'll go and say, may God bless Nigeria.
Indeed. Well, thank you very much for calling in, Mr. Momo. You see, I get the point that the NNPC cannot investigate itself. I mean, it goes against all the rules of justice and that kind of a thing. But I don't know how, therefore, to take the communication coming from the presidency that the president wants us to get to the bottom of this.
You see,
let me get to the bottom of it.
What are we investigating? You are talking about investigation. What are you investigating?
Incompetence in the system.
What is incompetence? Kyori has come out to tell us that there is a checklist for the fuel that is brought to the country, and the check for methanol is not part of it. So what are you investigating? He has already come out to tell you that, look, this is not part of what we look out for.
Yes.
So, which means that bringing that in is not the fault of anybody. because it's not part of the checklist. Now we should be asking ourselves, how many things are not on the checklist that are being brought to us as a country? What is included in our checklist? How comprehensive is our checklist? What are the people that know the things that are not on our checklist are putting into our fuel, knowing that we will not check out for them, and now compromise the quality of what we have? Because all this probe we are talking about, I don't understand it. You know, this man has come out to tell us that this thing, in other words, if it happens, it is not the fault of anybody. That is what I could get from what he has said. So when people are saying let us probe deep, it's like we just love the language of probe. We just want to say something. We just want to sound as if we are saying something.
You know, Mr. George said there was a time he was speculating within himself whether or not this was sabotage.
I want to agree. Now, coming back to the issue of 201 billion.
Thank you. That is now going to be required to fix this.
Now, this is what you are telling me. You are going to use 8 naira. Let me put it simply. We have fake and genuine naira. I have a 2 naira that is fake, and I have 8 naira that is original. So you are telling me that I should use my 8 naira that is original to fix 2 naira that is fake?
But it's chemistry. Because it's methanol in there. And apparently it's the level.
The cost.
The level.
What I'm saying is that the cost of repairing, why should I still bring out what is original?
Okay.
So fix what is fake.
I hear you.
And I'm using 8 naira of what is original to fix a 2 naira that is fake. What is the economic sense?
One moment, please. Abe in South Africa, good morning, and thank you very much for holding on.
Uncle Yori, good morning.
Thank you for calling in. Good morning, sir.
And good morning to your guests as well.
Sure.
Uncle Yori, this is quite unfortunate because for me, this is pure economic sabotage. And as a matter of fact, when Mr. George said when the probe of this issue comes up, what's going to come out of it? Uncle Yori, let's look at it from this angle. All the probing that has happened in the past, look at the NDDC probe. Did anything come out of it? Either the NNPC are involved or they are not involved. Nothing is going to come out of it, unfortunately. But the truth of the matter is, this is pure economic sabotage. And the federal government of Nigeria need to stand up to their responsibilities and tell us the people who are involved in this.
Yeah.
The fact is, some people's cars have been damaged. It's fine. Some people's health is at stake. But what of a situation, even the carbon dioxide coming from the car that are damaged, is also a damaging, chemistry to the human's life. So how do we quantify the damages we are talking about? How do we quantify all those kind of things?
I hear what you're saying. But thank you very much, Abe.
It's very unfortunate. Thank you very much, and good morning.
Good morning to you. Look, people are angry. All sorts of speculations are in the air. I even read a commentary somewhere that said, this is campaign funds loading. Now, that's that is a ruse, it's a device, that none of this was an accident. This is about getting hold of campaign funds. You see, it shows you how imaginative our people can be. There might be nothing whatsoever to corroborate that point of view. But, I mean, she was just talking about it, that 201 billion naira is now going to be needed. All of this is going to be in the very, very short term. Very, very short term.
You see, what baffles me, Kyori, is we are complaining we don't have funds. We are borrowing to do so many things. And the little we have, we are not managing it properly. This 201 billion we are talking about, imagine investing it in infrastructure in the nation. So for me, Kyori, it's when you give out issues like this to vendor, there are always specifications. And like my sister said, there are specifications. And when you are bringing it, as head of quality control, I have to check and take it. But the MD has come to exonerate. Oh, they've been checking, but he has come to exonerate that this methanol is not included in what we ask our people to check.
And it is the methanol that has messed.
And we have asked the question, who actually brought out the checklist? Who are the people? Are we saying that methanol or ethanol is not a component to check out for? So if an average businessman want to beat you to it, all I need to do is get a cheap product and get this involved and just get my money and move away, because I know what you have as your checklist.
Yeah, but I don't understand it. You see, if methanol is the culprit, and they've told us now that they're going to have to find 4 more parts of good petrol to blend with the existing dirty fuel.
What are we doing with it? What is our business with this dirty fuel? Must we use it?
No, I think it's already in the system.
Ada in Jos is on the line. Let me quickly get Ada in, and then we'll continue. Good morning, Ada in Jos.
Good morning, Mr. Kyori and your guest. It's Ada calling from Jos Plateau State. It's really unfortunate, Mr. Kyori. You see, what I discovered is that the government of the day knows that we are very docile. So they now have taken our docility for granted. The National Assembly, who is supposed to check the executive, they are not helping matters. So our destiny is in our hands. No refinery is working up till now. The LLC could not make any refinery to work more than 6 years in the administration. Now the National Assembly is alongside the president is saying that the corporate should be brought to book and whatnot. Those committees is not going to work. Even if you bring an independent one, or else they will bring them from abroad. If it is within Nigeria, have you heard of when somebody was brought to come and within Nigeria, even from the House of Assembly, the person went there and became corrupt. So there's a problem. I don't know whether the oxygen we breathe here is full of corruption. So now the problem is, I start with God. I've been saying it time to start number on your platform or other platforms. Those illegal refineries they are talking about that they are destroying, those boys are doing great. Why we have suits is because they are doing it illegally. If they are backed up, those suits will not be there because it will be done legally. Then they will contribute their own quota. But this idea of going to destroy those, it doesn't make sense to me. Yeah. Then somebody on AIT today in Kakaki, I listened to him. I think he has to be he's the head of one of the organizations. He said they are compiling the list of the trucks, the machines that got spoiled and all that damage. His name is Mr. Sonny. He said there, he made one remark. He said that they even showed it on AIT this morning, Kakaki. He said that what he shows, he said that what is there has a slug, and that it's not only methanol, that something else was mixed. So they are taken to the lab to examine it and know what it is. So when they finish with that, they know what next to do. But I'm appealing to NBA. NBA should step into this matter. We cannot take it lying low. We should not even bank on the committee, because nothing will come out of this. NBA people should sue. Let them provide lawyers for people who don't have lawyers. Let us get to the bottom of this. We cannot continue like this. How did we get here, Mr. Kyori? How can we continue like this? Now they are budgeting another money to now go and just like Dr. Bisi said there, 8 naira versus 2 naira. Does it make sense? Doesn't make sense. It's a sabotage. It's something they plan from the onset without being told all the time.
Okay, Ada. Thank you very much for calling in. Ada mentioned that word sabotage. She mentioned it in passing, and she also, what do you think of her comment that we're too docile? That this kind of thing, it happens in Nigeria, as Mr. George said, nothing is going to happen. Ada also brought, she also touched on a point that Balazaka, a chemical engineer, is he a geological engineer, whatever, he's an engineer and he's worked in that sector. As he said it's not rocket science to make fuel. Don't let anybody deceive you at all.
Simple chemistry.
He said it's one of the
basic simple circuitry.
Even the people doing the illegal refineries in Bayelsa, they are not even chemical engineers.
And that is what Ada said.
They are not chemical engineers, and the fuel is good.
Now
and
the
it's
whole
not
NNPC that has given itself the sole right to bring in its fuel, the fuel for the country, doing so through Duke. I mean, we're now hearing these stories.
If I can throw this bomb, the government keeps telling us that they want to encourage entrepreneurship.
Okay. Where's the bomb?
And here we are. People are working and processing the crude. You said it's illegal. Using their technical know-how. And you are shutting them down. Are you encouraging entrepreneurship or you are killing it? Because if you give them the legal backing to get some of these things out, at least those areas that they are satisfied, they will be out of the ladder, and these people can grow the business. And if the government can't do it, leave it in the hands of the people that will do it.
Let me cross over to Calabar. Aiden in Calabar, good morning, sir.
Yeah, good morning, Uncle Kyori.
Thank you for calling in.
Your guest there.
Good morning.
Good morning. Go ahead, please.
Okay, this is really worrisome for our country. Unfortunately, we have to suffer this. And again, no matter what we say, it is the common man that is going to suffer and pay for this. So, why would they say in their checklist they do not have whatever it is
methanol?
Called?
Methanol. A check for methanol is not routine for them.
Said. Honestly, I think this country is going way too down. My worry is just that it's a common man that is suffering. It's the common man that is going to pay. Even for all those whose cars have been damaged, I feel for them anyway. They are going to definitely do nothing.
Yeah,
it's just going to be the same talk.
It's unfortunate. It's unfortunate.
But it's unfortunate.
So thank you very much, Ibrahim, because we've almost run out of time. So here we are. We're not much better off than we were at the beginning of this whole saga in terms of being satisfied that business is being handled properly. Because what we've just heard is Kyori tells us what he has told us. People say so. First of all, none of that is our concern.
Yeah.
None of that is our concern. Yeah. Governments exist for the welfare and the well-being of their people. And so to now be telling us all this chemistry, ethanol, methanol, and this is how we're going to sort it out, we assume that at such a juncture, we have the right people in place. Managing the whole system. But Mr. President has said that he wants to get to the bottom of it.
Yeah, I think that is good coming from Mr. President. And we should also remind Nigerians that Mr. President himself is the Minister of Petroleum.
Yes.
He's the substantive Minister of Petroleum in this country. So he is the minister. He should take responsibility. So it goes beyond, we will get into the matter.
Somebody said he can exonerate. I can't remember. Somebody called in. I think it was Mr. George. Mr. George said that as far as he's concerned, he can exonerate Mr. President even though he is the minister.
Why?
So
why? Why should
the Minister of State
No. He's the substantive minister. He's the senior minister. So okay, if there is a problem, this stops on the president's desk. In fact, Nigerians should be asking the president questions by now if we are not too docile. That is the truth. And the way we are handling this
question is that people want the minister to resign. And the minister happens to be the president.
The senior minister is the president. Can we ask the minister No.
You can't ask the president to resign.
If he taking the responsibility
if he takes responsibility, you see, when you take up a position, you should be ready to take up the responsibilities that come with that position at any point in time. I think this is the responsibility that comes to the position of being the substantive minister of petroleum in Nigeria, and the president should go beyond just saying we will get into the bottom of the matter and just take up this matter as the minister himself. He should be in charge of everything.
Kyori, I just want to say this as a very to plea.
15 seconds.
This issue of them compensating the people that are affected, people like me, I'm not in support. When we were during COVID, we heard of palliative. People never benefited from it because the bottom line is we don't have data to track those things. So it's another avenue to take the little resources we have into the hands of certain set of people to do that. Well, like they said, let's take our fate in our hands.
Well, thank you very much. Sesan Okunade, Chartered Accountant, Tax Professional, and Public Affairs Analyst. And also to you, Madam Dr. Olabisi Deji-Folutile, Journalist, Editor-in-Chief, Franktalknow.com. Thank you very much. That's our program today. Please join us, not tomorrow, on Monday for a fresh edition. I'm Yori Folarin. Do have a great weekend.